Hello everyone, it's Melinda here with CatSmashPuzzles, and today I'm doing a pomegranate puzzle, which is becoming one of my favorite brands, honestly, because I've done a couple at this point, and I just really enjoy the quality, and I think that I like the box too for some reason, but I just seem to be liking their puzzles, their design specifically, and I saw this at the puzzle swap, I believe at the mini tournament, one of the puzzle swaps, and I immediately scooped it up because look how beautiful that is. That is an artistic work of Kawase Hasu. I do not speak Japanese, so I apologize for the mispronunciation, but this is called Tsurugaoka Hachiman's Shrine. I probably did not pronounce that correctly, so don't hold that too much against me. So I did my best. But it's beautiful. And I did look up this shrine. It is located in the kind of the southwest of downtown Tokyo. And it is honestly going to be a fun image. It's going to be a little bit challenging because you kind of have the yellow tree here, bit of the stairs repeating. But I think it's sectioned out quite beautifully. And I don't think it's going to take me too long. But I thought this would be the good puzzle to do to change my pieces per minute goal now that I've hit about 6 months of averages for the course of the year, and I can probably update my goals based on how fast I've been going. So last year I had been doing speed puzzling since about February, and so I had about 11 months of data, and my average ended up being about 9.5 pieces per minute. And I put that average based on any piece count. So it could have been a 300 piece count or a 1,000. And I thought, at the time, my average seemed to be kind of in that area, at least. But I put the 9.5 pieces per minute goal also on like a 1,000 piece puzzle and the 300. And I think that was the incorrect way of doing it, because a 9.5 pieces per minute goal for a 300, I was beaten pretty consistently. But for 1,000, it was extremely difficult. I'd have to be under, an hour and a half, I think, for that. And I hadn't even come close to doing that for 1,000 piece. So it was an unrealistic expectation on one end and too easy on the other. So what I've done for my last 6 months of data is kind of compiled my pieces per minute based on the piece count, because I think that's more important, to have each piece count have their own separate goals versus just simply slapping one goal for all of them, because again, it doesn't quite make sense. I'm going to go much slower on a 1,000 piece versus a 300. And so I have created a chart, and I'll put it right here for you so you can see, but I'll go ahead and kind of go over my goals moving forward with each piece count I'll do on the channel. Now, there may be some piece counts I do that's not listed just yet. I'm planning on doing bigger puzzles such as a 1,500 or a 2,000. I obviously have no data on that, and so I don't know what my goal is going to be for that. It's simply going to be, let's just see how I do. But for the 4 categories we're going to go over is a 300, a 500, a 750, and a 1,000, because I've done that piece count already at this point. But I did find an issue with the 1,000 and the 750 because I haven't done too much of them this year. I've done plenty of 300s, plenty of 500s, and plenty of random other piece counts. And so I've had to manually adjust my pieces per minute goal for the 750 and the 1,000. But for the 300 and 500, the averages were there for me to basically lock in. So let me go over these goals now. So for a 300 piece puzzle, the general goal will stay the same. All general goals will stay the same. It's just a good standard for me to have for these piece counts. So the general goal will stay under 30 minutes. Always a good one to do. And my pieces per minute averaging for a 300 piece puzzle was 12 pieces per minute, which I thought would be higher than that, but I guess I've had some slow 300s mixed in with it, and it just averages to 12. So that means I need to be under 25 minutes for my pieces per minute goal for a 300 piece. I'm pretty consistently under that from now on, but I think it's a good way for me to kind of gauge between a harder 300 and an easier one. So that goal didn't change too much, honestly. I don't think I had a pieces per minute goal for 300 because I think it was the same as the general goal, so it was kind of irrelevant. So I do think now I have a bit more of a standardized goal for the 300s versus simply just being under 30 minutes. So that works out really well. For the 500, I had a lot of data because I've been doing a lot of 500-piece puzzles. My general goal of under an hour will remain. It's a very good standard to have. But my pieces per minute went from 9.5, which would have put me at 52 minutes or less, up to 11 pieces per minute. I am slightly rounding the numbers, so like my 12 pieces per minute for 300 was 12.05, and my pieces per minute for 500 was 10.81. I rounded it to the half, basically. And so now my pieces per minute goal for 500 has reduced to 45 minutes, which is very good. This is the time I really need to be under. Moving forward with my, how I've been improving lately. I'm obviously trying to get under 40 minutes more consistently, but I've got to give myself a little bit of a buffer. And, if I'm staying under 45, I'm still doing really well, and I need to just keep that pace. So the 300 and 500 goals have now been updated to reflect how fast I've improved. But the 750 and 1000, I kind of came with an issue. I hadn't done enough of them for a good average. And so I kind of had to manually adjust these goals because I've kind of looked at the other people that are about my speed and seeing where they're landing on a 750 or a 1000. And I've also looked at my 2025 because I had a little bit more data to use for this update. And basically, the general goals will stay the same. For a 750, we'll stay under the hour 45, and then for the 1000, we'll stay under the 3-hour mark for our general goals. But when I calculated my average, my 750 came to 7.5 pieces per minute, which is an hour and 40 minutes. So it's 5 minutes less than the general goal. Well, that's too close, in my opinion. So I've looked at a few of Kyle's done quite a few 750s recently, and he was in that 120 to 130 minute range. So I put my 750 at 1 hour 20 minutes is the goal to get around the 9.3 pieces per minute, which I think I can do for a 750. I think since everything's shifted up about a piece and a half, I think shifting my pieces per minute about a piece and a half per minute is a realistic goal. So an hour 20 will now be my new pieces per minute goal for a 750. And then for the 1000, I've only done like 2 or 3 this year because almost all my puzzles have been 500s. I really had just a couple to go on, and they were all really slow, at least, and they weren't exactly competition puzzles. So like the country general store was over 3 hours, and so that was definitely impacting my average. So when I did my pieces per minute, it came to 5 pieces per minute, which is 3 hours and something, which again is now over the general hour. So it was kind of some poor data points for the bigger piece counts. So I went back and looked at some of my faster times, and I do think that the hour 45 mark, which is about 9.5 pieces per minute, is probably good for the 1000 piece as well. So I'm trying to shift the smaller piece counts to that 11-12 mark, and then shifting the bigger piece counts to that 9.5 that I was doing before. I hope that made sense. That's what I'm going to be doing moving forward. I do think that larger piece counts are going to be harder for me to achieve those goals. The good news is there's not any 750 or 1000 solo competitions, at least in person, that really count towards anything. It's always 500 pieces. So the most important average and most important pieces per minute goals I should be doing is the 500. So I'm not too upset with the 1000 or 750 adjustments. I do think that it just looks good on paper if I get to these goals. But, the competitions are changing. I've just done the World Series puzzles, and one of the puzzles was a 636 piece count, which is bigger than 500. And it's showing that the speed puzzling competitions are evolving. There might be competitions for the super fast puzzlers that's a 1000 piece, and you've got to get it done in under 2 hours. So, things can change. So I do want to keep the bigger piece counts in mind. I do want to make the goals realistic, but I just didn't have enough data to properly give them a good average. So that's kind of where I'm at. I had to do some logistics with it. But those are the goals I have to update. So now, for a 500-piece puzzle, we want to stay under 45 minutes, which is much more of a realistic goal for me now. 52 minutes is just too high at this point. I've gone below it. So, my predictions on the Japanese shrine here, I'm not going to butcher the name again. This could go one or two ways. I think, if I were to choose, I think I'll get it done in about 47 minutes. And I am going to try my puzzle tray tactic again, see if I can just improve on that. But I think Pomegranate's piece shape is very similar to the Oakland Puzzle Company, so I'm going to probably run into the same issue with the piece size. They're a little bit bigger than normal. But yes, I'm looking forward to doing this one. It's very pretty. Artistic style is one of my strengths, so again, I'm kind of working on my strengths at the moment, just improving myself. So those are my pieces per minute updates. So we'll try to see if we can get this under the hour for a general, and under 45 minutes for our pieces per minute goal. Let's smash it. Well, this was such a fun puzzle to do. I thoroughly enjoyed it, except for one thing. I don't like portrait style puzzles. I prefer landscape because it's too far for me to reach. That's my only complaint about it. Otherwise, it's a beautiful puzzle. I had such a fun time doing it. So I did this in 46 minutes and 14 seconds. And this was, once again, I apologize about butchering the name, Tsurugaoka Hachiman's shrine. I will go with the Japanese shrine moving forward with it. But it is very easy to kind of put together. I really did try to focus on doing it section by section. I didn't go all over the place. And so I first started with the ground at the bottom, and then I moved on to the stairs, which was surprisingly easier than I was expecting, but the shadow of the tree made it a bit easier. And then the dark green tree with the stones to the right of it. And then I actually did start with the green tree up here because I was kind of working on both at the same time. So that worked out. And then I worked on the big shrine in the middle. And then I kind of did the sky and then left this yellow tree on the side for last, which was definitely the most difficult part, which I think took me upwards of 5 minutes. I haven't looked back on the film just yet, but I do think that took me the longest time. Everything else came together pretty quickly. But yeah, when I had the borders sorted out, I got everything flipped, used my puzzle trays, and I realized real quickly this is a very tall puzzle, very bigger than I was expecting it to be. And I definitely had to stand up at the end to just get it done at the top. So I do think my puzzle trays did help in this situation because I think it helped with space management. But I definitely was on the far corner of the board here. And I do think that's something I might have to figure out because the puzzle trays are great, with getting pieces on them, but they also take up space of their own, and so to build the puzzle I need space to do that. So I might have to figure out maybe pushing them out to the slide deck 2-2, and then I have the center of the board to do the puzzle instead of in this corner where I might be sequestering myself with too limited amount of space. So I don't know, it's a thought process I might have to figure out, but we're working with it. Now, I didn't quite make under my 45-minute goal, so, you know, this was the first puzzle I wanted to really try to accomplish, updating my pieces per minute, and really trying to stick with my goals. But we were a little bit on the slow side, but I do think the tree here really slowed me down at the end, and it was a little bit of a struggle bus. I did take some inspiration from Victor, and if you don't know who he is the World Series champion and one of the fastest puzzlers in the world, and he puts puzzle pieces on top of the puzzle so he can just slide them in. Didn't quite do it that way. I did put the puzzle pieces on after I pulled them off the puzzle tray, so it was okay. But I don't know, I can definitely tell if it was like the same colored piece and it was on top of the puzzle that it would kind of camouflage itself, and that would be hard to find. So I'm not sure if that tactic's going to work for me or not, but again, I'm trying different things, and obviously, now, doing a tactic from one of the world's fastest speed puzzlers is something to look into. Now let's see if I can do a pickup test on this guy. I think so. I lost one piece. But look at that. Oh, it is very long. Okay, we just lost one piece. But it is a very beautiful puzzle. I'm definitely keeping this one in my collection. I do think Pomegranate is becoming one of my favorite brands. I did wish the puzzle was smaller. That was my only complaint. But it was beautiful. I'm very proud of myself for sticking with the sections. I definitely wanted to do this, and this, but I forced myself to stick with it. And I think my time reflects it. I think I would have been slower if I hadn't. I probably would have been upwards of 48, 49 minutes. So I did find out that this puzzle was a competition puzzle from speedpuzzling.com in early January of 2025. So this was right before I started getting into speed puzzling. And I would have gotten second place in it. But again, those times are almost a year and a half old. And so people have improved since then. I think Mari did it in 43 minutes. And I also checked on myspeedpuzzling.com to see if anyone else has put their times in. And based off the first attempts only, again, I would be in second place. There's been a couple people who've done it more than once, and therefore, you know, I can't, you know, if I did this again, I'd probably be closer to 40 minutes. But, so my time is pretty comparable. There were some people that I'm comparing, you know, Jasper, Matthew, I think were both on there, so they're about my speed, and I beat them by a couple minutes. So my times are pretty comparable. I do think I'm pretty happy with the result of this. I do think my technique is definitely improving. I just got to figure out how to be a bit more efficient with moving pieces. I think I need to practice speed-wise moving pieces into the puzzle space, and just trying to figure out how I can get into that 40 minutes regularly. But our goal was to be under 45 today. Didn't quite do it, but we enjoyed ourselves either way. Hopefully my new pieces per minute goals and my general goals all made sense to y'all. You know, I'll keep repeating the goals every time I do a video. I mean, most of them are going to be 500 piece puzzles, so they're going to remain the same. But, you know, I do change piece counts to practice stamina with larger piece counts. And, you know, 300s definitely are good sprints. I'm also still chasing the under 20 minutes on a 300 on my first attempt. So there's another goal I'm trying to work with. But we are now kind of trying to find different tactics. Oh, real quick. The next couple videos will be about the Orange County 12-hour marathon that happened in California with my Texas team, Yeehaw and Jigsaw. So, be on the lookout for those. Alrighty. Well, sadly, even with that time, we did not smash it today. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.